Hey y'all, my name's Daniel, and this week we're talking about renewable and non-renewable resources. So if you've ever wondered kind of what turns on our lights and what powers our cars, then you'll be very interested in what we're about to talk about.
Renewable resources. So what are renewable resources? Well, renewable resources are natural resources that can never run out and can be naturally replaced within their lifetimes. So what are the benefits of using renewable resources? Well, it turns out that renewable resources are really good for the environment because they don't produce any pollution, such as air pollution or water pollution, and they don't contribute to global warming, which is necessary to prevent the rise of our sea levels and to prevent further melting of the polar caps.
There are many different types of renewable energy sources that we can use to generate clean and unlimited energy. Some examples of this renewable energy are solar, wind, geothermal, hydropower, and more. Solar energy is created when we harness the virtually unlimited energy from the sun. When the particles of light, known as photons, hit a solar panel, they can push electrons to create a current, or electricity. Wind energy comes from the motion of the air. This motion is a result of varying air pressures in our atmosphere that motivate air to move. The power of the wind can be harnessed by using it to spin a windmill and create electricity. Water energy comes from water's movement in rivers, streams, and bodies of water that are powered by gravity. We can use big dams to capture water moving downhill and harness it for our needs, using it to power a generator. Geothermal energy is taken from the heat inside the Earth's crust. Long, long ago, when the Earth was created, lots of heat was trapped deep inside its core. By pushing water deep below the surface of the Earth, we can create steam using the Earth's heat, and the steam can be used to power a generator and create electricity. The best part about all of these energy sources is that they will never run out, unlike the limited fossil fuels, so we can keep using them as our society needs more and more energy to power all of its things.
Hi, I'm Brianna and I will be talking about nuclear energy. So nuclear energy is the energy that is stored inside of an atom by the forces that hold together the nucleus of an atom. Nuclear fission is the process of splitting a large atom into smaller atoms, releasing a huge amount of energy. When the energy is released in a slow, controlled manner, it can be used to generate electricity. When the energy is released all at once, a chain reaction occurs which can cause a nuclear explosion. Nuclear power plants uses nuclear fission to generate heat to create steam from water which powers electrical generators. One of the byproducts of nuclear energy is radioactive waste, which is leftover material from the nuclear reaction and can be dangerous to humans and animals. Another form of nuclear energy is nuclear fusion, which occurs when atoms are joined together to make a larger atom. Stars get their power from nuclear fusion.
What are non-renewable resources? Well, non-renewable resources are not renewable, meaning they can't be replaced or replenished really easily, and there's only a limited amount of them. This is because they're from plants and animals that died billions or years ago, and their remains slowly formed these things like coal because the earth slowly stacked on top of them and had the time to compress them, which makes them really energy rich. Because of that, when we drill them up or extract them from the earth, when we burn them, they can power things like electricity or your car or your heater. So burning coal, oil, natural gas, all these things have a lot of benefits, and they're also pretty cheap, and we have a lot of them right now. But the problem is, in the future, they're going to run out. That's why they're non-renewable. There's only so much, and it takes so much time for them to form. It's not sustainable for the future. They also produce a lot of pollution as of right now, things like carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, also deforestation, cutting down trees to make space for mines, and oil spills, which is what happens when you're not careful with drilling them up and extracting them.
There are many different types of non-renewable energy, but the three that we're going to be talking about today are all fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are our main source of energy, and they were formed millions of years ago from dead plants and dead animals. These remains were covered in mud and really deep in the earth, and as a result of Earth's heat and the pressure from the ground above it, this matter turned into substance that could be pumped out of the earth and generate electricity. This substance is what we call fossil fuels. The three main types of fossil fuels, and the ones that we're going to be talking about today, are natural gas, oil, and coal. Natural gas is used in homes for heat and to cook up your pasta. Oil is a liquid fossil fuel that is used for gasoline to power cars and generate heat. Coal is a solid fossil fuel which is burned to produce heat and generate electricity. Fossil fuels have been very important because they're relatively inexpensive and historically they've been relevant and easy to access. However, because they're a non-renewable energy, they are starting to deplete, and because of that, it's important for us to think of alternatives to fossil fuels.
So, going green. With all these wonderful things about renewable resources and not so wonderful things about non-renewable resources, why haven't we gone completely green? Well, the answer is there's a lot of challenges when it comes to renewable resources. For example, the cost of renewable resources is very expensive, and the amount of energy produced from renewable resources is a lot less than non-renewable resources. Another challenge is storing the energy that comes from using renewable resources. When you generate electricity from solar power or wind power, you have to store them in a battery, which is very inefficient. But when you use coal or oil, the coal and oil themselves automatically store that energy. So when you need to use it, you can automatically just burn it and you get your energy. So how can we, in our everyday lives, help reduce the amount of non-renewable resources we use? Well, we can reduce the amount of plastic that we use because creating plastic, we use a lot of non-renewable resources, which harms the environment. And we can turn off our lights when we don't use them every day because the energy that comes to power your house comes from power plants that use these non-renewable resources.